Deion Sanders threatens Colorado with scholarship cuts in strong locker room message. Inside coach primes tough love, his loyalty to the underdogs, and what it means for the Buffalo's future. College football has always thrived on stories bigger than the box score. Upsets, rivalries, and star players dominate the headlines, but it's often the behind-the-scenes moments, the speeches, the promises, the threats, that truly define a program. Few figures embody this reality more than Deion Coach Prime Sanders, the Colorado Buffalo's head coach whose larger-than-life personality and relentless honesty make him impossible to ignore. After Colorado's heartbreaking 27-20 loss to Georgia Tech in Week 1, Sanders didn't sugarcoat the situation. Instead, he marched into the locker room and delivered one of the most fiery messages of his tenure. Scholarships were no longer guaranteed. He reminded his players that comfort breeds complacency, and complacency costs games. And in classic Prime fashion, he invoked the story of the ultimate underdog, Rudy. What followed was a speech that shook Boulder's football program to its core. A crushing loss that sparked a reckoning. The Buffaloes entered the season under enormous pressure. The Deion Sanders experiment has been equal parts hope and hype, with last season's flashes of brilliance tempered by painful reminders of how far the program still has to climb. Against Georgia Tech, Colorado once again found themselves undone by defensive lapses, surrendering 463 total yards and giving up a crushing last-minute touchdown that sealed their defeat. Instead of resilience, Sanders saw excuses. Fingers were pointed, blame was tossed around, and players slipped into a victim mindset. To a coach who has built his career on accountability, this was unacceptable. Everybody wants to lie down and be the victim, Sanders declared in a clip shared on Bucky's well-off media channel. And you've got to blame somebody because you're not successful. You're not where you want to be, so you're going to blame somebody else. The message was clear. If Colorado wanted to compete in the Big 12, self-pity and complacency had no place in the locker room. Rudy and the value of the underdog. Sanders framed his locker room challenge around one of the most enduring legends in sports. Rudy Ruettiger, the undersized Notre Dame walk-on whose relentless determination inspired the iconic film Rudy. I had a bunch of dear friends on that play with me at the college who were Rudies, Sanders explained. And I always looked out for Rudies, and I'm still going to look out for my Rudies. The symbolism is powerful. Rudies are the walk-ons, the overlooked grinders, the players without nil deals or national hype. They show up every day, fueled by sheer heart. Sanders, who openly admits he cries when watching Rudy, sees them as the purest embodiment of football spirit. Then came the kicker. I'm looking for another Rudy to get a scholarship. Which Rudy is that going to be? And I want to take a scholarship from one of you guys that's done got comfortable and give it to Rudy. That's what I want to do because I'm going to give you what you deserve. Because that's what life's going to do. It wasn't just talk. Sanders has a track record of honoring this philosophy. Charlie Offerdahl, a living Rudy. No story illustrates Sanders' loyalty to the underdog better than that of Charlie Offerdahl, Colorado's running back who recently retired from football due to medical concerns. Offerdahl wasn't a five-star recruit. He walked on, worked tirelessly, and slowly carved out a role. By his freshman year, he managed 150 rushing yards on 37 carries. Last season, he delivered his first touchdown against Utah and finished with 26 carries for 119 yards, averaging 4.6 yards per carry. Modest numbers in the box score, but monumental considering the uphill climb he faced. Then came the concussions. A series of head injuries, culminating in a particularly severe one last season, forced Offerdahl to confront the brutal reality. Continuing to play could jeopardize his long-term health. With great difficulty, he made the courageous choice to step away from the game. Most coaches would have simply moved on. But Sanders is not most coaches. There's somebody out there who's in control of a dental school, Sanders said as Offerdahl announced his retirement. I want to make sure we take care of him. We're going to get somebody out there to bless you. I know you're stepping away from this, but we're going to continue your scholarship, pay for everything for him, because I love him. He deserves it. It was a rare moment of tenderness from the usually fiery Prime. To him, Offerdahl had earned not only a spot on the roster, but a place in the Colorado family forever. Loyalty versus accountability. The Sanders balance. This duality, rewarding loyalty while demanding accountability, is what makes Sanders both revered and controversial. He gives freely when he believes a player has earned it, but he takes just as quickly when that trust is broken. His warning after the Georgia Tech loss wasn't empty. Scholarships, he reminded the team, aren't lifetime guarantees. They are privileges tied directly to effort, discipline, and results. By threatening to reassign scholarships from complacent starters to overlooked walk-ons, Sanders flipped the locker room hierarchy on its head. Suddenly, stars could no longer lean on reputation, while walk-ons were given tangible hope. Why the threat matters. Some may view Sanders' stance as harsh, even destabilizing. But within the world of football, tough love often sparks transformation. Players now face a choice: step up or risk losing everything. And the truth is, Colorado needs that urgency. The defense that surrendered 463 yards must tighten up immediately. The offense must learn to execute without falling into victimhood. Complacency isn't just a cultural issue. It's the difference between winning and losing. By invoking Rudy, Sanders tied his players to a deeper legacy. The idea that effort and heart can outweigh pedigree. For every underdog grinding in silence, his words were a rallying cry. For every starter resting on past accolades, they were a warning shot. The bigger picture, what it means for Colorado. Sanders' message raises broader questions about the nature of opportunity in college football. In an era dominated by nil deals, transfer portals, and highlight-driven recruiting, the walk-on spirit often gets overshadowed. Sanders is challenging that narrative. If he follows through and hands a scholarship to another Rudy, it could send shockwaves through the program, reminding every player that nothing is secure and every ounce of effort matters. It also reflects Sanders' larger mission at Colorado, building not just a winning team, but a resilient culture. To him, victories are meaningless if they aren't grounded in discipline, loyalty, and respect for the grind. Final thoughts. A program at a crossroads. Colorado football stands at a critical juncture. The loss to Georgia Tech revealed vulnerabilities, both tactical and cultural. But Sanders' response shows why he remains one of the most compelling figures in college sports. He isn't afraid to threaten scholarships. He isn't afraid to challenge egos. He isn't afraid to cry over a story like Rudy or to pledge lifelong support to a retiring player like Charlie Offerdahl. That mix of toughness and compassion, of accountability and loyalty, defines him. And for Colorado, it may be exactly what they need to rise above mediocrity and reclaim their place on the national stage. When Sanders looked his players in the eyes and asked, "Which Rudy is that going to be?" he wasn't just talking about scholarships. He was demanding identity. He was demanding hunger. He was demanding that anyone, step up and prove that Colorado football still has fight left in it.